Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over the last iRacing DFS contest this weekend over on Draftkings at virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway. And I'm excited now, so this is going to be the last iRacing DFS video I have to make because we are going to get back to actual racing very, very soon, starting on May 17th at Darlington. So I'm very excited about that. I mean, has this been fun? Yes. Has it been profitable for the most part? Yes, but I just miss actual racing, and I tell you, the time they do qualifying for this just makes this very, very stressful. Because look, I love answering everyone's questions. I love when people reach out to me and ask me questions. I just love helping you guys out. But when I get like 10 to 15 minutes to answer questions, build lineups, build my own projections, update my spreadsheet, it's very, very tough because we have like 10 to 15 minutes to do all this. But seriously, I love when you guys ask questions. Love answering them. It's just, I hate the qualifying time for this. We get like 10, 15 minutes. It's just a stressful time. And with actual NASCAR, we get some buffer days, so that's always nice. I am looking forward to getting back to actual racing. But before we continue, as always, if you guys could just leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to be here all season long trying to help you guys make better NASCAR DFS lineups. So if you're sticking around and watching for the rest of the year, you might as well hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out when I post any new content. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm over at ChrisPennell16, and I would recommend following me for a couple of reasons. One, and most importantly, I want more followers. I'm close to 1,000 followers, so if we can get that anytime soon, that would be pretty awesome. And two, I do tweet out some pretty important information throughout the week, and especially on race day. On race day, I'll tweet out my notes for the upcoming race, and if there's any news that's changed, and I'll try to retweet as much important information as possible. And probably the most important reason is I'll tweet out the qualifying order, which is something we absolutely need to be able to make smart DFS lineups when it comes to iRacing. And if you're going to support me on Patreon, that's always much appreciated. I do have a lot of extra content over there for actual NASCAR. I don't do anything for iRacing on Patreon because I'm not going to try to make actual content for a video game. It's not something I want to do, and I don't want people to be relying on that because it's just a video game. This is more so for fun. But when actual NASCAR comes, I have a pretty big spreadsheet for that. This spreadsheet's very, very generic, the most generic numbers possible, really. Average finish, average starting position, average PD. Doesn't really tell much of a story, and these are all at different tracks, so it doesn't all mean much. But at least it's some data we can go over. But with my actual spreadsheet for actual NASCAR, I've got over 100 columns of information just on the main sheet. Then I have a power rankings tab, which I made, cheat sheet, Discord chat. I have projections on there, and I feel like my projections are pretty good. I've had quite a few people in my Discord chat just plug my projections in an optimizer. I run however many lineups, and they've actually won a couple of tournaments so far. And then I do tier rankings and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you do want some extra content on May 17th for Darlington, I will have that as well, and also my article. So you can hit the link in the description below to take you to my Patreon if you guys are interested. And it makes no difference if you sign up now or on May 17th. It makes absolutely no difference. So if you guys are interested, you can check it out. And I think that's enough plugging. Yes, this was a long intro, but hey, it's my video. I can do whatever I want. So anyway, let's get into the preview of this video, or preview of this race, I should say, and go over a quick preview and information. Sorry, I had to pause the video really quick. I had to get some water. I'm so thirsty. But anyway, we are at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's the Pro Invitational Series. And there's an outline of the track. It's very simple. It's an oval. It's very small as well. So track, we are at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's an oval. It's 0.625 miles in length. So very, very short track, kind of like Bristol. And 160 laps. And we're going to have 120 Dominator points available. So we definitely want to get at least one Dominator in a lineup, maybe two. But again, there's some high-priced guys that are going to be starting in the rear. So have to put that into account when you're building lineups as well. And just some quick notes for this. We're just going to have the 2-lap qualifying prior to the race. Should go on at 2:50 with supposed to start at 3, but I think Draftkings will probably make the start time like 3:10. And Timmy Hill and Christopher Bell are going to the rear. And I say hopefully because I told you guys Corey LaJoie is going to be one of my favorite plays in the entire week last week, because he was supposed to start in the back. And that wasn't a mistake. He was supposed to, well, I mean, it was a mistake what happened, but he was supposed to start in the back. But he ended up making a qualifying run when he was not supposed to. So iRacing, he qualified 5th, and he was not supposed to go on the track and make a lap, but he did. And he got the 5th best time, so he ended up starting 5th, and that's where DraftKings scored him. That's where iRacing started him. So we kind of just got screwed there just because someone didn't really follow the directions, so that really sucked on our part. If he would have started in the back like he was supposed to, we probably would have had a pretty good day with that. But So that was really unfortunate. I apologize to anyone that did play Corey LaJoie. He was not supposed to make a qualifying lap, but he did. So if that happens again, I mean, I don't know. Well, I try to tweet that if I can, but again, I'm very limited time. And again, this race is at Saturday at 3 p.m. Just remember that. I don't know if I said that in the intro, but this race is on Saturday instead of Sunday. So it's going to be on May 9th. It's not going to be on Sunday this time. We have Mother's Day on Sunday. So make sure you buy your mom a card and flowers. And on Saturday, though, the race will be on Saturday. Very important. Don't forget that. And top 10 qualifiers will be inverted like usual. So the guy that qualifies 10th, he will be on the pole. So just keep that in mind. And I think that's enough for the preview. We can probably go driver by driver. And then we'll call it a wrap for iRacing. Alright, so you're going to notice there's going to be a lot of names missing, and a lot of these guys are just taking time off, whether just to get ready for the upcoming actual races. Like if you notice, Hendrick Motorsports is not here, neither is Team Penske. You're not going to see Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, or Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and I don't know if I'm missing someone else off the top of my head, or Alex Bowman. You're not going to see Alex Bowman either. So those guys are definitely not going to be here, and there's a couple of other guys that are not going to be here as well. And there's a couple of guys that have questionable tags over on Draftkings. I've not been able to get some more information on that, so if someone is out, obviously I'll let you guys know. Off the top of my head, I think the questionable tags were Corey LaJoie, Brennan Poole, and there might have been one other. But as of right now, that's all the information I have. So we'll start up. Also, there's no William Byron. I already said that, but I should probably make that more clear. There's no William Byron this week. He is by far the best driver here, and he is not here this week. So it's definitely going to open up the field a little bit. William Byron had 400 laps led out of him, which was way more than anyone else. So definitely opens the field up a bit. But anyway, let's start off with Timmy Hill here. Timmy Hill. He comes in at 12,500, and he is a smash play. If he was not even starting in the rear, I'd still like him, because without William Byron, Timmy Hill would be my top dominator, and now he's going to start in the rear, which makes him an amazing place differential play. And chances are he can probably get up front, lead some laps, and win the race as well. So Timmy Hill, I know he's very expensive, but just picture him as William Byron this week. Like, if you just want to cross Timmy Hill's name out and put William Byron in, it's probably going to be the same thing. So I definitely like Timmy Hill. He's been probably the most consistent driver out of all of them so far this year, as he's really not had any trouble too much. I know he had one race, if I go to the driver log, which I'll show you. But anyway, he's averaging 54.5 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 4, which is best of all drivers, average starting spot of 12 as well, which gives him some place differential upside. It's not like he's starting second and finishing first. He's on average starting around 12 and finishing in the top 5. So I love that out of Timmy Hill. Let me close out of my thing very quick so I can see the whole screen. Yeah, anyway, averaging 8 place differential spots per race. And if you can give me 8 place differential spots on average plus his dominating potential, yeah, I love that. He's worth his price tag, and he has a win, 54 laps led, 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s. The guy's been absolutely amazing so far. If you guys look at the driver log, he did finish out of the top 10 one race at Talladega, but it's still a really good race because he started 33rd, finished 11th. But if you look at the DraftKings points scored, 65, 56, 50, 50, 57, 48. Nothing bad I can say about Timmy Hill this week. Just picture his name as William Byron, and you're probably going to get the same results. And starting in the rear, love him. And even if he just does what Corey LaJoie does and qualify, and I'd still like him. I think he's a very, very good play. Going down to Denny Hamlin, 11,000. So again, with William Byron out this week, it opens up the field. I think Denny Hamlin's one of the top dominators in the field this week. He's averaging nearly 40 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 6, which is second best out of all these drivers, an average starting spot of 19, which gives him 13 average place differential spots per race, which is best out of all drivers. So I love that of Denny Hamlin. He tends not to qualify very well, but he can definitely get up front, lead laps, and win a race. We've seen it so far this year. He did win the first race that we had at Homestead, and he's led 26 laps so far, 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s. I think Denny Hamlin's a very good play. And like I said, the guy doesn't qualify too high all the time, I should say. If you look at the starting spots so far, 9, 17, 26, 13, 36, 10. I mean, only once has he been inside the top 10. So I think Denny Hamlin should be a pretty good play. Again, we'll have to see how qualifying goes. But if he can qualify anywhere from 15 down, I think he's a tremendous play. And if he qualifies near the front, he could certainly lead some laps as well. So Denny Hamlin, definitely a really good play. Do I like him more than Timmy Hill? No, because Timmy Hill is guaranteed to start in the rear. But I still think they're both fine plays. Just have to see where Denny Hamlin qualifies during qualifying. And Christopher Bell, so he's been a guy I've been recommending pretty much every single week, but he just kept getting in wrecks. And last week he finally broke through and had a really good race. If we look at the driver log, Christopher Bell, he finished second. He finally got that top 5, 52.5 DraftKings points. And then in Talladega, he had a really good race as well. Started 34th, finished 13th, 53 DraftKings points. So kind of in a groove here the past 2 races. Finally got rid of some of that bad luck where he finished 26th, 34th. 12th's pretty good, but he also started 3rd, so it didn't end up being a really good race for him DraftKings-wise. But yeah, Christopher Bell, hopefully he can keep it going. And the thing is, he's going to start in the rear with Timmy Hill, so this makes him an excellent play. If you want to just start your lineups with Christopher Bell and Timmy Hill, I totally get it because they're amazing plays. They're some of the best iRacers. I know they're very expensive, but hey, you get what you pay for. So I think Christopher Bell, Timmy Hill is probably where you're going to want to start in cash games because I think you can fit them both in because it's not like we're trying to jam in 3 10K guys that are starting in the rear. So only 2 this week. So I think you can probably play Timmy Hill and Christopher Bell together. You're probably going to have to go dumpster diving a little bit, but you should be fine. So as long as you can find a cheap guy that's starting in the back, I think playing Timmy Hill and Christopher Bell in cash games is certainly the way to go and probably where you should start building your lineups. And for the season, again, he's had some bad luck. He's only averaging 27 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 19th. But starting in the rear, it's going to be a good play, and he's really just been getting a little bit unlucky. Going down to Ryan Preece, who's going to round out this 5-digit tier here. He comes in at 10K. He's been very good so far this season, averaging 40 DraftKings points per race. Actually has the most laps led of all these drivers on the sheet right now. They're actually racing this week because obviously William Byron blows everyone else away. Ryan Preece, he's in second with 68 laps led, 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s. Doesn't always qualify that high. Now that number's going to get skewed a little bit from his when he started in the rear, and he actually ended up wrecking last week. I had a lot of Ryan Preece, ended up not going well for me, but I think Ryan Preece is fine, but I would much rather play a guy like Christopher Bell, and I'd probably rather play Denny Hamlin. It's just going to depend where they qualify, but definitely see Ryan Preece going a little bit lower owned just because Christopher Bell's right there, but I think he's fine in tournaments. Probably not going to get there in cash games just because of his price. Going down to Garrett Smithley, he comes in at 9,700. Another guy that's just been very consistent, kind of just like Timmy Hill. Hasn't been as good as Timmy Hill, but he's kind of been right there in consistency. Averaging 40 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 8, average starting spot of 10th, which is a little bit up there, but he's averaging 2 place differential spots, so is finishing on average higher than where he's starting, which obviously we'd like to see. Has gotten up front, has led 24 laps, but does have 3 top 5s, which is tied for second most, and he also has 5 top 5s, which is tied for first with Timmy Hill. So he's been very consistent, very good driver. But again, his price point makes it hard to play him because he doesn't usually qualify in the very back and come up front. And he's priced right around guys like Christopher Bell, Ryan Preece, and even Kyle Busch. So it's a tough spot for him because I don't like the price tag, and I just don't really see myself having too much of him unless he qualifies, I don't know, like 30, or I don't even know how many drivers there is in the field, but I don't know, late 20s, early 30s. So kind of a tough spot for Smithley, but if you look at the driver log, he's been very good. Nothing bad I can say about him. He starts 1st, 12th, 14th, 11th, 11th, 2nd, 9th, 4th, 17th, 9th, 3, 5. He's been very, very good. So I don't mind him, but I just don't like the price point that much. Then to round off this tier, we have, no, I'm sorry, not to round it off, just Parker Kligerman. He comes in at 9,400. He's averaging 30 DraftKings points per race, which is lower than anyone in this tier, up between him, Kyle Busch, and Garrett Smithley. So that's a red flag. I will say he got a little bit unlucky at Talladega. I played quite a bit of Parker Kligerman at Talladega. He was running really well. He was in the top 10, ended up getting wrecked, and he was starting in the rear. So that sucked, but he's still one of the better iRacers. He has 30 laps led so far, 2 top 10s, a top 5 in there, averaging -2 place differential spots per race. I will say, though, kind of got screwed at Talladega, getting wrecked into, I believe it was Joey Logano. Look at he started 35th, finished 16th, which wasn't too bad, but he was in the top 10. Then last week, absolutely awful for him. He started 3rd, finished 34th, -15 DraftKings points. Other than that, though, he had a nice stretch of 3 races. We're at 52 points, 56 points, and 42 points. But again, I don't like the price here, and I just don't see myself being able to fit him in too easy because I'm going to be jamming in Timmy Hill. I'm going to be jamming in Christopher Bell. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to easily fit in Parker Kligerman at 9,400. So he's more of a tournament play. Just got to see where he qualifies. And Kyle Busch, he comes in 9,100. Again, he's been making he's been making a lot of improvements since the beginning of iRacing. At the beginning, not so hot, then got into a little bit of a hot stretch. I ended up playing him last week. Wasn't anything outstanding. 36 DraftKings points. Still finished ahead where he started, which is obviously something we want. But the 2 weeks prior to that, he was on a little bit of a hot stretch. He started 27th, finished 5th, which was his first top 5, had 63 DraftKings points. Then at Talladega, he started 19th, got a top 10, finished 8th, got 48 DraftKings points. And then last week was fine. He got 36 points, but you want a little bit more than 36 points out of a guy that's around 9K. So again, he's just another guy we're going to have to see where he qualifies. But the good thing about Kyle Busch is he tends not to qualify too high. He's qualified 34th, 19th, 6th. If he qualifies 6th, probably going to pass. But 27th, I'll definitely take some shots at Kyle Busch starting 27th, 19th as well, and 22nd. So if he can just continue to qualify in that 20s area, maybe even 30s if we're lucky. Again, I don't know how many drivers are in this field. I didn't count, but I don't mind Kyle Busch. He's been getting a lot better at this. As you can see, the DraftKings points just continue to rise, not like in consecutive order, but 20, 29, 19, then 63, 48, 36. So he has been making some improvement. So I don't mind Kyle Busch as long as he qualifies back to where he's usually been qualifying. He's got an average starting spot of 21, average PD of 6, does have a top 5, 2 top 10. So I don't mind Kyle Busch, just I don't like the price too much, and it's going to depend where he qualifies. Dale Jr., he's been pretty disappointing for iRacing. I felt like at the beginning of iRacing I was going to be playing a lot of Dale Jr. That has not really been the case. I played a lot of him in the first race, just ended up not working out, and I really haven't played him since because the problem is he qualifies way too high. I believe he has the best average starting spot out of all these drivers, which is not really something I want in iRacing unless you're going to just absolutely dominate the race like William Byron. And we haven't really seen that from Dale Jr., so his average starting spot is 4th. Average finish is 16th. That's terrible. And like I said, averaging 18 DraftKings points per race. Average PD of negative 12. Does have 30 lap sled and 3 top 10s, but man, it's just not been that great for Dale Jr. so far. If you look at the driver log here, I mean, the starting spots, every single time has been in the top 5. I don't want that. He started 5th, 2nd, 5th, 4th, 4th, 4th. Finished 26th, 30th, 8's fine, 22, 6, 2. But again, none of his DraftKings points have really been worth his price. So Daniel Jr., probably a guy I'm going to continue to fade unless he gets on the pole, because then he has the opportunity to lead some laps. But yeah, Daniel Jr. just doesn't seem like someone I'm going to have too much interest in this week, because, I mean, if we just look at the trends, it's not been pretty playing Dale Jr., and chances are he's going to qualify high anyway. So if he qualifies high, probably no interest at all. Next guy we have Landon Castle. He's kind of just been averaging 30 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 11. But problem is he tends to start very high. He has an average starting spot of 6, which I believe, Corey LaJoie has the best starting spot. I said Dale Jr. did, but also Dale Jr.'s sample size is much higher at 6 races instead of 2. So we'll give Dale Jr. the edge there. But yeah, Landon Castle, average starting spot of 6, which I believe is technically third best. So another guy who tends to qualify a little bit too high, averaging negative 5 place differential spots per race. He's been fine though, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, but again, he's not a guy that usually qualifies in the back. As you can see, 6, 2, 2, 12, 5, 10. So another guy I probably won't have too much interest in. I just don't really see him dominating this race. John Hunter Nemechek, another guy that's kind of just been I don't want to go over every single driver's driver log, so I'll just tell you right now, John Hunter Nemechek, if he continues to qualify where he has been, I don't have much interest. I mean, he's averaging negative 9 place differential spots per race, so not too much interest. I mean, he's fine, but I just don't think I'm going to have too much interest. But Erik Jones, he's someone I'm definitely going to like this week. And I've been pretty much talking him up almost every single week because of one reason. He qualifies terrible. He has an average starting spot of 26. 26, I think that's one of the worst. It's Jeff Gordon's worst, but that's a 1-race sample size. And Cole Custer only has a 2-race sample size, and that's not enough either. So it's pretty much Erik Jones. I mean, if you had to guess who's going to qualify last, I mean, there's a good chance Erik Jones is going to be in the running for that. He's averaging 8 place differential spots per race, average finish of 18, which is not pretty, but one of those races he also had internet connection issues, which made him finish last. So you got to throw that in there as well. But he's been pretty good, to be honest. Averaging 35 DraftKings points per race, does have 3 top 10s, has a top 5. And if you look at the driver log, Erik Jones has been good. He's been hit or miss, but the races he's been good, he's been good. Obviously, I forgot the words I'm trying to say, but you guys get the idea. He starts in the back, and look, he finished 10th the first race, got 49 points. Started 24th, finished 7th the one race, got 56. Then last week, he started 31st, finished 4th, got 67 points. He started 25th, 22nd, 31, 24, 26, and 31. So chances are he's going to qualify 20 back, and if he does, that's going to make him another good play. So Erik Jones, he's a guy that I could see myself having quite a bit of ownership to. And to be honest, after Erik Jones, it's kind of just depends where these guys qualified. Tyler Reddick, I know he qualified in the back last week, made him a pretty solid play. He was very high owned. think he was around 40 some percent in single entry, or no, 3 entry max. Let me see where he qualified. Yeah, he qualified 34th. Finished 25th, didn't do that great, but the week prior he qualified 38th, finished 22nd. So he hasn't been qualifying very high the past at least 3 races. Hasn't qualified in the top 10 yet. So he could be another guy that's good for place differential. No idea of where he's going to qualify yet, but if you just go by the numbers, can't imagine it's going to be anywhere near the top 10. So Tyler Reddick might be another good place differential play. Corey LaJoie, again, I don't even know if he's racing because he has that questionable tag. I'm not totally sure. But he had one good race. Then the last race, where did he finish? Finished 20th. And the thing is, he was supposed to start in the 30s. So if he did, that would have made him a pretty solid play. But again, kind of got screwed because he ended up qualifying. But if he's going to continue starting up front, no thank you, and Corey LaJoie. Let's move down to Michael McDowell. He's another guy that's just going to depend where he qualifies. Average starting spot of 18th, average finish of 17th. So, I don't know. It's not that exciting. Does have a top 5, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's a top 5, 2 top 10s. So, we'll see where he qualifies. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., a couple of the older guys here. I don't expect much from these two. And Martin Truex, this is going to be his first iRacing event. So, not expecting too much from Truex, but he could qualify really low because I can't imagine Truex is a big iRacing guy. He's just the kind of guy that likes to go fishing when he has time, so can't imagine much out of Truex. But if he qualifies near the back, he might be able to avoid some wrecks and maybe top 20 for us, which we would take at the decent price tag. And as for Kevin Harvick, he's in the same boat, older guy, but don't expect too much. Only has a 1 race sample size so far. So yeah, not expecting too much out of him, but if they can qualify in the back, I wouldn't hate it. John Wood, new entry. He's from the Wood Brothers Racing. He's going to be filling in for Matthew DiBenedetto. Not expecting too much, but if he qualifies in the back, hey, he'll be a decent play. And I'm sorry, I can't. There's nothing else I can really say about these guys because there's no data, and it's just a video game. Bobby Labonte. So I have recommended Bobby Labonte quite a bit, and the reason why is he's kind of just there to have a good time and chill. So that means he's not going to be that aggressive, and he's not going to be initiating any contact or just trying to pass too many people. So he's kind of just going to chill, hopefully survive the race, and tends to qualify in the back. He has an average starting spot of 22, average finish of 17, averaging 31 DraftKings points per race, averaging 5 place differential spots per race. So I don't mind Bobby Labonte, not the most exciting play in the world, but he feels safe. I feel like he's not going to screw me. So I don't mind Bobby Labonte at that price tag. And a couple of other guys that have some good place differential spots. So place differential races so far this season. You guys know what I mean. But only 2 race sample size. But Eric Almirola and Cole Custer, they used to have only 2 races each, but they've been doing very solid so far. Almirola's averaging 40 DraftKings points per race. Custer's averaging 35 DraftKings points per race. Almirola's got an average finish of 14, average starting spot of 24. That gives him on average 10 place differential spots per race. As for Cole Custer, he was a really good play last week, qualified near the back, and he moved up a little bit, had a pretty good day. But yeah, he's got an average starting spot of 30th and an average finish of 19th, and he's averaging 11 place differential spots per race. So again, if they can qualify in the back, yeah, I'll have a lot of interest. And the nice thing is they're pretty cheap too, so this would be good guys to pair with guys like Timmy Hill, Christopher Bell, maybe throw in a Kyle Busch. So that's the ways we're going to be able to fit in those high-priced drivers that are starting in the rear, or we can might be able to even fit a dominator in as well. Clint Bowyer, he did not race last week. I forget the exact reason, but he is back this week. And I got to say, he's been trailing off quite a bit. If you look at the driver log for Clint Bowyer, let me scroll down a little bit. So, first 3 races, he's finished 16th, which is fine, but he qualified 11th, so it wasn't that great. Then he finished 11th, then he finished 11th. So, not a bad 3-race stretch. Then the past 2 races, he finished 30th, and he finished 33rd. Now, I know he doesn't really care too much about iRacing, kind of just there to be funny and have a good time, and I know a couple of times he actually has intentionally wrecked someone, so you have that to worry about too. I don't really trust putting Clint Bowyer in my lineup because there's a good chance he'll just wreck someone. If someone bumps him the wrong way, he'll wreck them out and ruin both of their races, and then next thing you know, Clint Bowyer finished last. So that's the one problem with rostering Clint, and he is really cheap, I will say that. He doesn't tend to qualify that high, average starting spot of 21st, but there is some risks there, but I don't mind Clint Bowyer, just depends where he qualifies. Jeff Gordon, he's actually the last driver that won at North Wilkesboro in real life, if I remember correctly. I think so. Maybe I should double check that before I say it. Yeah, that was correct. I checked. Just wanted to make sure. Jeff Gordon, he has 1 race. He did terrible. He finished at last. And He started 29th, but yeah, he finished dead last. I don't expect much out of Jeff Gordon here. He's just there for fun. So, yeah, it just depends. If he qualifies last, yeah, he'll be fine. But don't expect too much out of Jeff Gordon. Obviously, not a big iRacer. Ross Chastain, he hasn't been that great. Average starting spot of 13, average finish of 19th. He's just qualifying a little bit too high. I like that he's cheap, but just hasn't been performing that well. Ty Dillon, he tends to qualify in the 20s to qualify. Average starting spot of 21st, average finish of 22, which it's pretty bad. Ty Dillon's a guy I like to play in real life because he tends to be pretty solid and he tends to be pretty cheap. He's usually around this 5,600 to 60, low 6K price range, and he tends to perform pretty well. But iRacing has not been his cup of tea so far. If you look at the driver log, I think he's had a couple of decent races. Yeah, he had 40 DraftKings points, 36 points, 34 points, and then he's had races where he's at 12, 7, and 5. So he's been pretty hit or miss. I don't mind his price tag, but again, it just depends where he qualifies. Brendan Poole, he's another guy with a questionable tag by him, but he's been pretty good so far, averaging 45 DraftKings points per race, average finish inside the top 10. He's been starting on average 18. I know there's only 2 races. I think he qualified 17th and 18th, if I remember correctly. No, I'm sorry. He qualified 28th and 7th. Who was I thinking that started 17th and 18th? I don't think it's down here. Not important, though. But anyway, Brendan Poole, I don't know if he's going to race this week, but he has been good the first 2 races so far, 39 DraftKings points and 51 DraftKings points. So, Poole, again, just depends where he qualifies, but you can have some interest. He has looked pretty good so far. Then the rest of these guys, JJ Yaley, don't know too much about his iRacing experience. He's averaging 33 DraftKings points per race. If he can start in the back, he'll be fine. He's on average 23 starting position. That'd be fine. I would take that. I'd take a couple of shots because we're going to have to play some of these scrubs just to be able to fit in our high-end drivers. Austin Dillon, terrible so far, only averaging 9 DraftKings points per race, average starting of spot of 16, average finish of 25, negative 9 place differential. I mean, for a cheap guy, this is pretty bad still. Joey Gase, he's fine. I mean, average starting spot of 26. Chris Buescher has been terrible, and Chad Fincham. I mean, it just depends where these guys qualify, so I'm not going to go too in-depth there. But if I had to just do some quick picks here, I mean, Timmy Hill, obviously an amazing play. Christopher Bell, obviously an amazing play. Erik Jones, if he just continues to qualify in the back, absolutely love Erik Jones. Tyler Reddick, he's been qualifying near the rear, so if he does that again, obviously wouldn't mind that. There's some pretty good mid-range guys. Bobby Labonte, he tends to be more of a safe driver, probably going to finish in the teens, and if he can qualify in the 20s, we'll take it. And really, just after that, it kind of just depends where these guys qualify. So, yeah, I'm glad this was the last iRacing DFS video. Not much to say about these guys because this is just a video game, but I am looking forward to getting back to actual racing. I don't know why I said that twice, but yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. Also follow me over on Twitter. I'm at ChrisPenel16. Check out my extra content on Patreon if you want. I'm going to have some stuff posted in the next coming week for the actual race, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, that's going to pretty much be it. Remember to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next video.